Once upon a time in a kingdom far away, there lived a king who had everything one could desire: gold, silver, precious gems, fine clothes, and delicious food. Yet despite all his riches, the king was unhappy. One day he called all the wise men, priests, and scholars of his kingdom and asked them, "How can I find true happiness?" They gave him advice on meditation, charity, and other good deeds, but nothing worked. Discouraged, the king decided to leave the kingdom and search for happiness on his own. He disguised himself as a poor beggar and went out into the world. As he walked, he came across a young man sitting by the side of the road. The young man was blind and had no one to take care of him. The king, moved by compassion, took the blind man and brought him to his palace. He gave him food, clothes, and a comfortable place to stay. But after a while, the king felt bored and started to miss his old life. He began to think, "Why did I give up everything to live like a beggar? This blind man has nothing and he seems to be content. How is that possible?" One day, while the king was walking in the garden, he saw a beautiful white dove. It was unlike any bird he had ever seen before. The king immediately ordered his men to catch the dove and bring it to him. He wanted to keep it as his pet. However, no matter how hard they tried, the king's men couldn't catch the dove. It would always fly away before they got too close. Frustrated, the king went to see the blind man and asked him for help. "Please help me catch this bird," he begged. "I want to keep it as my pet." The blind man agreed and went with the king to the garden. As soon as they arrived, the bird flew down from a tree and landed on the blind man's shoulder. The king was astonished and asked, "How did you catch it? Why didn't you fly away?" The blind man replied, "I didn't catch it. It simply chose to stay with me. I guess it feels safe with me. You see, this bird doesn't know about my blindness, so it doesn't fear me. Therefore, it feels free to be near me." The king thought about these words and realized that he had been living his life in the wrong way. He had been chasing wealth and power without appreciating what he already had. He had forgotten the value of simplicity, contentment, and kindness. Just like the dove, these things were right there, yet he couldn't see them because of his blindness. Moved by this realization, the king decided to return to his kingdom and rule wisely. He would use his wealth and power to help others and make the kingdom a better place. He knew that true happiness didn't come from material possessions, but from living a pure and compassionate life. The king returned to the kingdom and kept his promise. He spent his days working for the betterment of his people and his nights meditating and practicing kindness. As he grew older, his kingdom prospered and his people became happy and prosperous. And though he still had many problems to solve and many enemies to defeat, the king knew that he had found the path to true happiness. He had learned that sometimes we have to lose everything to truly appreciate what we have, and sometimes we need to be poor to understand the value of money. The king lived a long and fulfilling life and passed on his wisdom to his people. He is remembered even today as a great leader who taught everyone the importance of simplicity, contentment, and kindness. Moral of the story: sometimes we have to lose everything to truly appreciate what we have, and sometimes we need to be poor to understand the value of money. We hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. Also, if you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe and become part of our community. We publish new stories every day to inspire and motivate you on your English learning journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. One day, a poor woodcutter was chopping wood in the forest, when his axe accidentally slipped and fell into a deep and muddy pond. The woodcutter was very upset because he needed the axe to work and earn money. It was his only means of income. He tried to retrieve it, but the mud was too thick and slippery, and the axe was stuck fast. Desperate for help, he took off his coat and threw it into the pond. A moment later, a fish jumped out of the water and swallowed the coat. When the fish was pulled out, it flopped onto the ground and the woodcutter skinned it, cooked it, and ate it. As he was eating, a frog hopped up onto the remains of his coat and croaked loudly. The woodcutter, startled, picked up the frog and threw it back into the pond. Then he sat down on a nearby stone to wait for another fish to come along. However, instead of a fish, the frog reappeared on the stone beside him. "Hey, you silly frog," the woodcutter said, annoyed. "Why aren't you hopping around in the pond?" The frog replied, "I am a magic frog, and I am here to help you because you showed me kindness by throwing me back into the pond. Ask me for a reward, and I will grant you 3 wishes." The woodcutter was stunned. A magic frog that could grant him 3 wishes. What a stroke of luck. After thinking about it for a moment, he said, "Well, this is all very exciting, but I honestly can't think of anything I want more than to get my axe out of that pond." The magic frog waved its magic wand, and poof, The axe was freed from the mud and plopped onto the bank of the pond. The woodcutter couldn't believe his luck. "Oh, thank you, magic frog. You have saved me." He picked up his axe and looked around for the magic frog. Where did it go? Suddenly, he heard a familiar croaking sound behind him. Turning around, he saw the frog sitting on a nearby stone. "Don't go anywhere," said the woodcutter. "I still have 2 wishes left, and I'd like you to help me with them." The magic frog blinked its big golden eyes and said, "All right, woodcutter, I will do whatever you ask." The woodcutter thought about it. I want to make sure that I'm never hungry or thirsty again." Poof, wished the magic frog, and just like that, the woodcutter's stomach was filled with food, and his throat was filled with drink. He felt so full and satisfied. The woodcutter thanked the magic frog and said, "Now I've got 1 wish left. I really couldn't think of anything I want more than to be able to talk to animals." "Of course," said the magic frog, waving its magic wand. Poof, your wish is granted. Now the woodcutter could chat with squirrels, birds, and rabbits, and they became his good friends. He lived happily ever after, never hungry or thirsty, and with an abundance of animal friends to keep him company. Moral of the story: always be kind to others, even if they seem insignificant, because you never know when their help might be needed or when they might come back into your life in an unexpected way. A magic frog can appear at any moment, so be prepared to make the most of any opportunity that comes your way.